local improvement from John Dahman for municipal sewer and water services to be extended on his property line. With this petition, Dahman waives the preliminary hearing requirements of Minnesota statutes chapter 429 and agrees to be assessed for the cost of the improvements against his property and agrees to pay the cost of the portion by the city pursuant to a payment agreement with the city. Mr. Dahman will be present to discuss his request. William, would you care to come forward now? Don't talk to us. You can sit here, it's fine now. Thanks. And do you care to walk us through?
As council's already been over this issue for several years now, and we finally got to the point where Mr. Dahman's actually petitioned the city for the sewer and water extension project. Council will recall back in December of last year, Otomo presented a feasibility report showing a two-phase project to bring sewer and water into that area. Josh is here and can talk a bit about that. What we would need the council to do is to approve the petition, accept the petition, order the engineer to move forward and finalize his preliminary plan into a final plan, and then we need to have a discussion, and that's one of the reasons that Terry is here, to talk about a larger 429 project so that the city can recoup some costs for other properties that are in that area. We should have that discussion as well. So maybe the first thing to do would be is to just go through the petition with Mr. Dahman and then turn it over to the engineer who can talk through the feasibility of the project. And then we can talk about how we're going to pay for it.
City of Rushford agreement for sharing special assessment for sewer and water extension.
That's the agreement.
Right.
The petition was
Second page.
Second page of the back.
Excuse me. Yep.
So what is this estimated to cost? What is it gonna cost, John?
Is that for me?
well, I think first we should.
We need to approve whether or not we're gonna bring them in, and then I guess the second part of the conversation is trying to discuss what the cost is gonna be and how we're gonna divide it up among the city and the assessed property.
Right, I think we'll get to Councilmember Culberson's
Yeah.
question here at the end. We need to discuss the petition, accept the petition, and then talk about the engineering and feasibility of the project before we get too deep into costs, or our cost estimates that we've already had put together.
Well, obviously, John, you're in favor of this. You signed.
So I have.
Well, yeah, you signed the petition, so you're asking us to accept it.
Yep.
Do we need to do this in stages?
Yes.
Okay. I would move that we accept this petition for local improvement from landowner John Dahman.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bunky, second by Mr. Dahl. Any questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes, thank you.
And now the feasibility side from the engineer.
Orders? Yeah.
I've included in your packet the drawing from that. I include the whole feasibility study because that'll have to be done. It was only preliminarily given to the city. But that's the general route that we're looking to take. We follow west along the north side of Sexauer property, and then would turn north into John's property, go up about halfway, and then would stop. We're requesting an easement all the way through his property. We've determined, based upon other easements that we've paid for in that area, that easement is worth about $9,500 that Mr. Dahman can use towards the expenses that he'll have. The biggest issue I think the city has to be concerned with, for cost is, the large vacant lot area from, Mike Down. But, we can talk about that in a minute. It's probably more we hear from Josh about the feasibility from an engineering standpoint, what kind of pipes you're gonna put in the ground, and how long you think the project could take, and what your next steps need to be to go out for bids, you know.
Essentially, we had it broken down into 3 phases, as you can see there, and the other 2 phases were for future use. They were just real preliminary. But phase 1 would include an 8-inch sanitary sewer main and a 6-inch water main going to the west from our already extended services out there. These will be along the west side of Michael Donovan's property and the east side of John Donovan's property going north. You know, when we did the feasibility report, like Steve said, that we had assumed that Michael Donovan could divide his parcels into different parcels for future assessments and hookups, but for right now, we'll just continue with John Donovan's. We're gonna need a 30-foot wide easement on the east side of his property to go out there. We'll put a manhole at the north end of his property in the northwest corner. As far as estimated cost goes, we had estimated $76,000 for the first phase. And just assuming that we did 50-50 with those other lots as well, it came down to roughly about $6,350 per owner, which includes $3,172 for sanitary main and $3,172 for water main.
But you'll have to
But we'll have to re-estimate those, taking everything into consideration, so.
That's a pretty close price.
Services wise, it looked like what we estimated for the sanitary service was $6,000 roughly, and I would be for the water service, and for the sanitary service was about another $7,600. So both of those costs included the hookup charges and everything that would be involved with that. If you have any other questions about the detailed estimate, I can give those to you, but that was just kind of our breakdown for what we had so far.
You said his cost would be what? $13,000?
Yeah, like 13,000.
What we have in our agreement is, that, Mr. Dahman here would get the easement for the city. One of the issues we have is just to the south of your property in Sept, there's a little piece of land there, very little. It may be covered by easement, the easement that we have along Sept. It may not be, it may be owned by somebody. We're gonna try to get to the ground truth of that, but if it is owned by somebody else, we're gonna ask that you would sort of take the point on that and make sure that we can get that property for the, so that we have that easement all the way through. We also need, so we'll need legal description and the easement paperwork, which we're gonna work with Mr. Blumentritt on and start that on Wednesday. We're gonna have our meeting, so we're trying to move this thing forward as quickly as we can. The issue though is those, when we extend those sewer pipes from where they are right now, the sewer and water, as they work their way west before they turn north, they go along Mike Donovan's property, and it does make those properties more valuable. I know that he's stated in the past that he doesn't intend to ever subdivide those or to build on them, but the city, I think, in order to protect itself, needs to consider doing what's called a special assessment hearing for those lots as well. And we could defer the assessments on those 2 lots, so that if at some point in the future they do get subdivided, the city can be compensated. Otherwise, we're gonna be carrying the